Okay, so in our course, we do have this sample of a schedule. And so our first period is from 9 to 9:50. So our goal is to have everybody online for sure at 9 a.m. So if I'm giving a lesson or instructions, examples, and of course to welcome you to the morning, I have it right here. And so if you notice, we do have it until 9:50. So that means we have a little bit of a break between first period and second period. And that's why, you can go to the restroom, get a snack, move around, whatever you need to do. So first period is hopefully all of us together. And second period is if you have questions or if you can't make it to the 9 o'clock during the reading block. And so we have group work, one-on-one. This is time for your Duolingo. You can work on journals. Later in the week, I'm going to explain more about silent reading. And so that will be your time to kind of have your own schedule to work on different things. The blue section, it's called conference. So that means that even when second period is over, I will still have our video meeting open, and you can sign up and say, hey, Ms. Molinar, at 11:30, can I have a meeting with you? I have a question about this week's journal, for example. I say, sure, no problem. And we can talk about that specific thing at that time. Or if you can even do that in second period too, but I can make sure this is more private during conference. Lunch should be about 12 to 1. And then the same thing that we did in the morning at third period, I'll be here hopefully all together with instructions or a lesson. And then fourth period will be yours to work independently and to do what you need to do when you need to do it. I know some people work really well in the morning, some in the afternoon. I saw a lot of people online last night after 9 p.m. So I get it. People work at different times. But for sure, first period and third period is when we hope to have a lot of people online. But if the internet doesn't work or whatever, my goal is to record the sessions so that way later, you can find it, and I'll show you where my YouTube page is. We do have a last week of classes, June 29th through July 3. The final exam will be on July 3rd. And I do take attendance every day, but attendance looks a little different. Really, if you interact with me in some way on Schoology, you send an assignment, you are part of the video chat, and you send a remind message on the phone, then that kind of counts as attendance, because I know that the internet is a big problem for a lot of people. So I get it from there. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, so things you need for class. So obviously we have our link for the video. We also have instructions here for a Duolingo account. So I don't know if you had an account with Miss Spears or another teacher. If you have one, great, you can use our code. If not, you can always make one. It's really easy. And then when you have to add a class, they give you this code. So the NGRPXH, that's our class code. So that way, when I give assignments in Duolingo, you can see it and you get credit for your work. So it's just like a fun little app to kind of get a little bit more practice. We're also using a Remind app, so you can use this link. And you have to click it again, and it takes you there. Download it. And with this app, what happens is it allows you and I, or me to the class, to text each other, but we still have privacy where, your phone number is private, my phone number is private, but we still have the opportunity to communicate. So it's actually really helpful. For example, this morning during our session, there were a lot of students who couldn't log into the meeting, but they were letting me know that they were trying to do it. While the class is going on. So I already know that it works pretty well. And so when you look for a class, you give that code after the little arroba. Later this week, I'm going to explain some more information about silent reading, but it's important to save this link to the Google form. And if you get stopped by Google and it says, oh, you need to log in, you can use your EPISD information. So whatever your email, the start part of your email is and your password, it's the same thing. So because you are a student in the district of EPISD, you already have like a Google account for that. So you see there's stuff that's required or else you can't send the form. Just put your name, the date, the title and author of your book. Even if you're reading something online, that still counts. And if you're listening to a book, that's okay too. If you have an audiobook, you can just click yes or no. And our goal is 15 minutes a day. And of course, you know, a little bit more as each week of school keeps going. But let's just try for 15. And maybe you read 15 minutes in the morning or 15 minutes at night. For each session, each time, you can do a new form like this. And you can tell me something about what you read. If it's a novel, maybe something in the plot was a surprise, or if it's a book with facts or about real stories, it's nonfiction, then maybe you didn't know that that happened and you were surprised that maybe a particular soccer player got injured or was in so many World Cups or something like that. And what do you predict will happen in the book? If it's nonfiction, well, maybe you already know because it's a biography about somebody's life. Or if it's a novel, maybe you don't know. Maybe the characters are going to live happily ever after, or maybe they're not. Sometimes that's even a little bit more interesting. And these last two are not required, but they are two things that I want you to start thinking about. So how did you feel? And it can be your emotions, it can be in your body. Maybe you got really sleepy. Reading makes you sleepy. That's okay. You can talk about that. And if there's anything else that you want to share, like maybe this book was surprising, or I liked it because the cover had pretty colors, but the story was very interesting. So you can put something like that and then click submit when you're finished. So you can save this link into your computer or into your phone, but it's always available to you in Schoology for sure. But I will talk more about silent reading tomorrow and Wednesday. And so that way you have more information about how to be successful when you read, or just some ideas to kind of make the experience a little bit more pleasant. Here's the link for the YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel. Like I said, I'm going to try and put videos on here in case people can't make the meeting. And I even have a class website, which is kind of nice for us to explore. I'm going to click the link. And a good link on this page for all of you is currently reading. So if you're reading a book, you can send me a picture of the cover and I'll add it here whenever we all start. And these are some books that students in the past that they checked out from the library or that they read. So we have graphic novels like Black Panther, kind of romantic ones like P.S. I Still Love You, like the movie on Netflix, about sports. You can also read in Spanish, that's perfectly fine. Las ventajas de ser invisible, so the perks of being a wallflower. One of my students, she ended up reading it first in Spanish and then in English. So she liked having that experience. One student read like all of the Naruto books, so he kept going to the library pretty often. So that's just something to look at, just see what other students liked and what they were interested in if you aren't sure. But our librarian, Mrs. Silva, one of our librarians, she's going to join us in a meeting later this week so she can give us recommendations about maybe books that we like, or if we're not really sure what we want yet. And let's see, because we're not in class, I give some options for some dictionaries online. Of course, there are a lot more. I think I put about 3 on here, but these are 3 really good ones. So if you're reading or you're working on something in class, you're just not really sure about a word, you can always look that up here. So these are just things to help you for class that are in this red folder. Any questions so far?
No, Miss, thank you.
You're doing great. Okay, so this, of course, we're a reading class or an English class, so we have information about the library, the orientation video for them. Some of the information is different because they're talking about the physical library, but they have a lot of resources online, such as the website. Here's some facts about reading as well. It's kind of interesting. And I also put a link to a video that Mrs. Silva made that shows us how to access some ebooks. So she's going to do this for us live, like in person. Well, video, but she already did a video. So if you're already curious, you can start looking and you can play the video.
Hi everyone, I wanted to show you how you can get to some of our online resources.
So that's available for you guys to look at right now. And this is a little poster that talks a little bit about our silent reading. And I'm going to review this later this week. But if you're curious, you can start looking at this. And it gives you ideas about how to make your daily silent reading a really nice experience for you to have every day. Then we go back to our home page. The last thing I need to show is our week 1 folder. So each week we'll have a different folder as we continue. And let's see. And so for this week, you guys can't see this stuff at the very bottom, but you'll be able to see Journal 1, the scavenger hunt, and vocabulary introduction. So for today, you could actually start your journal number 1. I know a couple of students have already turned it in. And it's just a way to kind of introduce yourself and to do a little bit of writing. The scavenger hunt, it requires you to really look at all the different links that I have available here in Schoology to go over all of them again. And then the vocabulary introduction is for me to kind of double check and make sure everybody is doing the assignment the correct way. But a very important thing is all 3 of them are due Friday the 5th at 11:59 p.m. So the same thing for the scavenger hunt and for the vocabulary. Now what this signifies, what this means is that that is your absolute last opportunity to turn in that work for your full credit. If it's at 12 a.m. June 6th, then it's late and I don't look at it. So if you do this today, that's fine. You're early. Let's just say you want to work on the scavenger hunt tomorrow at 8 p.m. Maybe you have free time. You can do that too. That's one of the nice things about working and learning from your house is that, you have the time when you have it. So you don't have to do it all in class. And if you have questions at the time, you can send it and I'll answer it as soon as I can when the time allows me. So that's something you can start looking at. But I do suggest that for today, you just go through everything, look at stuff. If you have a question, you can certainly ask. You can always send a Schoology message or a remind text or a regular email. That's fine. And I'll do my best to answer. For today, if you don't have any other questions, you're free to go. We're already at 10:52. If you can log back in at 1 or during conference if you'd like to look at the schedule again. But really that's it for today because I'm still getting a lot of messages from students who are having a hard time accessing information. I'm trying to think what else. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And if not, you can still let me know, like, hi, I'm trying, but I cannot, and still look at and find information later in the day to see if you're missing anything. So it's going to be a lot of me sending information and making information available. And then the opposite is all of you have to take the responsibility and say, okay, I'm going to go into Schoology, I'm going to send a message. And that way I know, and we have a lot of communication going back and forth because we don't get to be in the same room together like at school. Okay, any questions or anything you need to say so far?
No.
Okay, let's see. Thank you so much, Ingrid. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you were able to do that.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.